Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vradana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vradana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Banachari Yamuna Tera Banachari Jayora Dhammadava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vradana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radhamadava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radhamadava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Jayo Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gauda Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gauda Hari Bol. Nitai Gauda Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gauda Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrata Kacharya Sudhara Sadasi Srimati Rani Goswami Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 8th Canto, 12th chapter, Mohini Murti bewilders Lord Shiva, text number 5. Adyantavasya yanmadhyam Adyantavasya yanmadhyam Idam manyadaham bahi Idam manyadaham bahi Yato vyayasya naitani Yato vyayasya naitani Tat satyam brahmachit bhavan Tat satyam brahmachit bhavan Adyantavasya yanmadhyam Idam manyadaham bahi Yato vyayasya naitani Tat satyam brahmachit bhavan Yantavasya yanmadhyam Vyayasya naitani Satyam brahmachit bhavan Yantavasya yadmadhyam Idyam anyadaham bahi Yato vyayasya naitani Brahmachit bhavan Adyantavasya yanmadhyam Idam anyadaham bahi Yato vyayasya naitani Satyam brahmachit bhavan. Ladies. Adyantavasya yanmadhyam Idyam anyadaham bahi Yato vyayasya naitani Tat satyam brahmachit aham Yadantamasya yadmadyam idam adyam aham tahi yato vyayasya naitani tat satyam brahmachit bhavan. Una más. Adyantabhasya janmadhyam idam anyaraham vahi yato vyayasya naitani brahmachit bhavan. Adi, the beginning, Antau, and the end, Asya, of this manifested cosmos, or of anything material or visible, Yat, that which, Madhyam, between the beginning and the end, the sustenance, Idam, this cosmic manifestation, Anyat, anything other than you, Aham, the wrong mental conception, Bahi, outside of you, Yataha, because of, Avyayasya, the inexhaustible, Na, not, Etani, all these differences, Tat, that, Satyam, the absolute truth, Brahma, the supreme, Chit, spiritual, Bhavan, your lordship. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The manifest, the unmanifest, false ego, and the beginning, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation all come from you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because you are the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Absolute Spirit Soul, the Supreme Brahman, such changes as birth, death, and sustenance do not exist in you. Purport. According to the Vedic mantras, Yatova imani bhutani jayante, everything is an emanation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 7:4, Bhumirapo nalovayu idangma kamano buddhirevacha ahankariti me bina prakritirastada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, altogether these 8 comprise my separated material energies. In other words, the ingredients of the cosmic manifestation also consist of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This does not mean, however, that because the ingredients come from Him, He is no longer complete. Purnasya purnam adaya purnam eva vashishyate. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. Thus the Lord is called Avyaya, inexhaustible. Unless we accept the absolute truth as Achintya Bheda Bheda, simultaneously one and different, we cannot have a clear conception of the absolute truth. The Lord is the root of everything. Aham adir hi devanam. He is the original cause of all the devas, or demigods. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything emanates from Him. In all cases, nominative, objective, positive, negative, and so on, whatever we may conceive of in this entire cosmic manifestation, is in fact the Supreme Lord. For Him, there are no such distinctions as this is mine and this belongs to someone else, because He is everything. He is therefore called Avyaya, changeless and inexhaustible. Because the Supreme Lord is Avyaya, He is the absolute truth, the fully spiritual Supreme Brahman. Adyantavasya yanmadhyam idam anyadaham bahi yato vyayasya naitani tat satyam brahmachit bhavan. The manifest, the unmanifest, false ego, and the beginning, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation all come from you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because you are the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Absolute Spirit Soul, the Supreme Brahman, such changes as birth, death, and sustenance do not exist in you. Om Ajnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Gurudinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So this is a very interesting narration here. In the previous chapters we heard how the Lord had manifested his amazing pastime of the churning of the milk ocean, and he appeared in many different forms. How many different forms? How many? How many forms in the churning of the milk ocean? Many, right? Many forms. So that shows to us that the Lord is not limited. He's not stereotyped. Sometimes people have this idea that God is the way I want him to be, and it better be like that because I can't accept anything or anyone else. But Krishna is not stereotyped. Krishna likes variety. He likes to appear in different forms to perform different pastimes. Of course, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge, to protect the devotees, annihilate the demons, and to establish the principles of Dharma. That is his main agenda. But ultimately, he wants to experience rasa. But you can't experience rasa unless you understand tattva. Now, you may think, I'm already in bhava or in prema, but if you haven't done the preliminary stages, then what question is there of bhava or prema? It's just manoratena satadavato bahi. It's just running on the chariot of the mind, mental imagination. So here, Lord Shiva, he had heard about this amazing form of the Lord, Mohini Murti, the most beautiful of all women, never been seen before, never seen again. And he was really curious. He was really curious to see that form. Have you ever been curious to see places, things, people? Confirmed. Be careful what you're curious about, because curiosity killed the cat or the monkey. You heard of that? There's a tree, and they had a wedge in it. You know what a wedge is? Ein Keil. A wedge was in the tree. And the monkey saw that, and monkeys, they like to mess with things, Monkeys, that's their nature, right? They just want to cause mischief. So the monkey went and he took out that wedge, and that's how curiosity killed the monkey. Because the wedge was in the tree, and took out the wedge, and boom, he got squished. In a similar way, ambition killed the Swami. If we are overly ambitious, we have, according to our Vedic tradition, if we're not following our own dharma, we're not acting according to our own capacity, we're doing someone else's dharma, then we will run into trouble. Or we think that we're more advanced than we are, then also we run into trouble because we don't have traction. We're not acting according, sve karmanya virata. We have to act according to our adhikar, where we are. Otherwise, we cannot really progress. So, of course, this is lila. Why is this pastime here? Of course, there are many lessons, there are many didactic, there are many deep meanings to this story, but it's a pastime between Krishna and his dearest devotee, Mahadev, Shiva. Vaishnavanam yatak shambhu. So if the Lord wants to teach, how does the Lord teach? He teaches through his devotees. He teaches through his intimate associates. That's the way how he teaches. And in this way, we can learn these lessons if we happen to pay attention. Otherwise, we may think, yeah, okay. Now again come prayers. All right, where's the action? What's going on here? But we see here, initially, it's very important to notice, in the previous verses we heard, that Lord Shiva, he appeared with his wife, Uma, and with his associates, and Vishnu, he welcomed him, and he received him. Now, Vishnu is in a superior position, Shiva is in an inferior position. But Vishnu is showing that this is the culture, okay? If you have culture, you receive guests and you take care of them. Even you might be in a superior position. Like you might be a pujari and some guest walks in the temple room. It's perfectly permissible that you stop your arti, your worship, and you get off the altar and you take care of the guest. Why? Why is that permissible? Don't you have to finish the arti? No, the guest may just turn around and walk out because there's nobody here to talk to or to engage, to interact. So why is it okay? Because this is Krishna's guest. And as Krishna says in the Padma Purana, somebody who claims to be my devotee is not my devotee, but somebody who is the devotee of my devotee, that is my devotee. So if we want to be Krishna Bhaktas, then we have to follow Krishna's culture, which is a culture of taking care properly of not just the guest, but of any living entity. So when Shiva appeared with Parvati, Vishnu received them and he made them feel very welcome. Then Mahadev, he offers prayers to Vishnu, and that's where we are right now. He's offering prayers to Vishnu. He doesn't just come and say, gimme, I want this. Yeah? That's okay if you're like up to, how old? Up to 5, right? It's okay. You just come running in and you say, huh? But if you're older than 5, then your mom will say, this is not my kid, because my kid, knows how to talk, how to communicate, how to behave. So this is culture. Now what is Mahadev, the greatest of all the devotees? What is he communicating in today's verse? He's speaking about the manifest and the unmanifest. How the Lord is everything. There's nothing that is outside of his realm. It's all his energy. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. It is all his potency. Thus he is everything, yet at the same time, he's distinctly separate. Now how does that work? Well, that is called Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. That is called the inconceivable oneness and difference. Just like we're all one in terms of we humans. Are you human? Any aliens here? No? Humans, right? Okay. So, as humans, we're all one. Yet still there is distinction, right? There is variety. In so many ways, there is variety. Is this mutually exclusive? No. It's compatible. There can be oneness and difference at the same time. But if our minds are small, in other words, if we have a linear thinking, linear thinking, we're just thinking, okay, I'm here, I want to go there, I want this, then any other idea is not appealing to our mind. But linear minds are not suited for philosophy. They may be suited for target practice, but not for philosophy. So Krishna is at the same time everything, and he's distinctly different. And everything emanates from him. The manifest, that is what we see here. That is the manifest. We see part of the manifestation. Of course, it's a big universe, and there are many universes, but we see a part of the manifestation. Now, what is the unmanifest? Avyakta. Huh? Spiritual world, what is beyond, what we cannot perceive. It is unmanifest to us. It is there, it is existing, but to us, it's not manifest. And also there's so many potencies that the Lord manifests according to his desire. So all of this is part of the Lord's personality. So Shiva, he worships Vishnu, and he's speaking also of Anta Vanta, Adyanta Vanta Kaunteya, Nateshu Ramate Buddha. He's speaking of the beginning, the middle, and the end, the creation, the maintenance, and the annihilation. Now he could have said, Brahma creates, you maintain, and I destroy. But why didn't he say that? Because he knows who he is. He knows I'm simply an agent. I'm simply a representative. I'm simply an empowered servant of the Lord. I cannot destroy without Krishna's power, without Krishna's potency. This is your power. So he is giving credit where the credit is due, which is a very important point. Sometimes we take credit for things that we did not do. Has this ever happened to you? No, never. It can happen, right? It can happen. Somebody starts glorifying you, maybe a little too elaborately, and you think like, yeah, that sounds nice, let it go on. But the problem is that if you are taking credit for things that you didn't do, then you will get blamed for things that you didn't do. How do you feel about that? Getting blamed for things that you didn't do. That's really disappointing, right? They did not acknowledge all the things that I did do, the good things and also the other things, but they blame me for things that I didn't do. One time I was with my spiritual master traveling, and he was telling me the whole story of New Vrindavan, from the beginning, the middle, to the end. And he said, it's so funny that after all that I did for these people and for that place, they blamed me for all the things that I didn't do. So it's kind of ironic. It gives you the idea how much is praise and how much is insult or blasphemy worth in this world. Like sometimes your boss comes up to you and blasts you or your superior, your temple president, for things that you didn't do. And at other times somebody comes and they praise you for things that you didn't do. Or maybe that you did do. But if we give credit where credit is due, if we understand this is all the Lord's doing, it's all his potency, then, as Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita, then we're not a prisoner. We're not a victim of our own success or failure. We're just doing our duty in a humble mood of selfless service. And then we're not a victim of the result, whether good or bad. So, all of this creation, maintenance, and annihilation is enacted by the Lord through his different agents. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the Supreme Source, he's the Supreme Controller, he's the origin of everything. And thus he's known as Govinda, the one who pleases the cows and the senses. Yet because you're the absolute truth, the supreme absolute spirit soul, the supreme Brahman, such changes as birth, death, and sustenance do not exist in you. In other words, the Lord is always the same. He's unchanged. He's immovable. He's always the same in his identity. Even though there are so many activities happening in his creation and maintenance and manifestation of this world, Krishna is always unchanged, unfazed by whatever is happening. We can see this in many pastimes of Krishna, just like when the Brahma Vimohana Leela happened and Lord Brahma came to offer his prayers to apologize. Krishna was just standing there. with a little bit of yogurt and fruit in his left hand, and it was dripping from his hand. And he was looking at Brahma like, who are you? What are you talking about? I'm just a cowboy. I'm just looking for my calves and my friends here. He was unchanged. He was not, oh, you did wrong. Of course, that came later. He still, made a few points, but Krishna is very, very much the same. And that is quite unique because as we see in this story with Lord Shiva, it's very easy to become affected by the modes of material nature. Have you noticed? Have you ever noticed how the modes are having an effect on you? Yes? Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4? Huh? It's possible, right? Why? Because we're conditioned souls. And even though Mahadev is the qualitative incarnation representing certain aspects of the Lord, and he's in charge of destruction and many other things, he becomes affected. And thus, he's mixed. He's mixed. So, Srila Prabhupada once mentioned, or several times mentioned, the problem with you Westerners is you're not afraid of Maya. You're not afraid of Maya. You think, I can handle it. You go up to any drug addict, to any person who is addicted to something. Who is addicted nowadays? Everybody, right? Everybody has some addiction, some form of an addiction. Have you noticed? Addicted to phones, to technology, to money, to fame, to power, or to, very, very things that are very destructive. All of those are, if they're not utilized in the right way. And if you ask them, what about your addiction? What will they say? I can quit any day. Have you ever heard this? Have you ever said this? No, never, right? I can get off my phone any day. I can stop eating this. I can stop doing this. I can stop saying this any day. You have heard people speak like that? You have heard your mind argue like that? Then why don't you do it? Then they say, no. Right now, I don't want to. I like to continue. You understand how powerful the modes are? How powerful the mind is? And this is just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the potency of Krishna. This is just something small. So Lord Shiva, he wants to see Mohini Murti. He's excited. He's very curious to see that most beautiful woman that has bewildered all the demigods and the demons. Of course, the demigods stayed sober, but they were also quite impressed. They were also they'd never seen someone like that. It was quite a scene. And the demon became completely bamboozled. They become completely confused. So he was eager to see that form. And many beautiful lessons will be coming. So we're just going through the purport. Prabhupada, he gives a lot of tattva here. He's speaking about the Vedic mantra, Yato Ivani Bhutani Jayante. Where is it coming from, that mantra? Any idea? You can look it up. You can look it up. And he's citing Bhagavad Gita, Bhumirapona Vayu, how all these different components, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all these 8 comprise the separated material energy. This is just material energy. Then, of course, parayamita stanyam prakritim vidime parajiva bhuta mahabaho yaya dandharyate jagat. Then there is the spirit soul, the jiva, who is a direct part and parcel of the Lord. Intrinsically one in qualities, yet different in quantity. Speaking about the cosmic manifestation, Om Purnam Adak Purnamidam Purnat Purnasyam Araya. You know that one? Yes? Bhakti Shastri? Anybody? Ishapanishad, yes, invocation. Huh? Everything is emanating from the Lord. Yet still the Lord is complete. Even though so many complete universes and so many complete living entities have emanated from him, he's still complete. Nothing is lacking in him. That is the Supreme Lord. Avyaya, inexhaustible. There's never any lacking in him. There's nothing that will be wanting. He's always not just complete, but he's fully capable. Even though there's so many different things and personalities that emanate from him. He's the root cause of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Translation? Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Source of all material, spiritual energy. Mattak sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajate man buddha bhava samanvita. We should be aware of that. We should know that. That is foundational. And for him, there is no distinction that this is mine and this belongs to someone else. Well, that can be misunderstood. How can that be misunderstood? This is mine and this is someone else's. Have you ever heard of the hippies? All is one. We're all sharing everything. Can become Mayavad, right? Can become impersonalism. Like even in the beginning of the Hare Krishna movement, they had 3 clothespin, for dhotis, for kurtas, and for socks. So, yeah, there was no personal clothes. Sounds interesting concept, right? So depending on when you got up, you got a better pick, you got a better choice. Of course, those who were detached, they just picked anything and wore that. After a while, they realized maybe that's not our philosophy. Maybe that's not the way how we should live life. It's okay to have, the things that you take care of, your allotted quota. Because after this, all is one comes Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jaganti jagat. Tena tyaktena bunjita magridaha kasasvidhanam. That we have to understand, what is my quota? What do I have to take care? What can I take care? What is my capacity? And what can I productively engage in Krishna's service? So he's avyaya, changeless and inexhaustible. He's the absolute truth, the fully spiritual supreme Brahman. So this is Sambandha Gyan. This is knowledge about identity and relationship. Who am I? Who is the Lord? And what is our relationship? If we don't have Sambandha Gyan, can we have Abhideya or Prayojana? Is it possible? Not really, right? Not really. Because we'll start making stuff up. We'll start imagining. We'll be called what's called sahajiyas, prakrita sahajiyas. That we project anthropomorphism, zoomorphism. We project human-like or animal or other qualities into divinity, into God, because we don't have the proper knowledge of who we are and who the Lord is and what our relationship is. Have you heard people who told you, oh, I had this dream, or I was dancing with Krishna in the kunjas, or this or that? Have you heard things like that? Huh? So, no? Jai Shri Radhamadan Mohan ki jai, Shri Gonitai ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So the topic is how to please Shri Radhamadan Mohan, how to expand their service. And it's very wonderful to see there's an amazing effort here for deity worship in dressing and decorating and all the different activities that go along with it. At the same time, we can also see that Radha Madan Mohan is attracting a lot of people to come here. And there's many different ways that we can serve Radha Madan Mohan by taking care of their guests. By taking care of the guests, by spending time with them, by communicating, talking with them, by giving them prasad, by answering their questions, by engaging them in devotional service. And that will be very pleasing to Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. And in this way, the community will grow exponentially, unlimitedly, because everybody wants to be part of such a inclusive, of such a loving and caring community. Yet sometimes we may have this mood that I'm already in bhava or in prema, so why would I waste my time with Sambandha Gyan? Or why would I waste my time with talking to some newcomer? Like, this is not what I have to do. I have very confidential service to render. But we can see from our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, he was cooking, he was cleaning, he was talking. Was Prabhupada giving Sambandha Gyan? Did Prabhupada spend time with Sambandha Gyan? It's not a rhetorical question. You read Bhagavad Gita, you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. He spends how many chapters with Sambandha Gyan? 8? 8 chapters he gives just to explain the tattva before he gets into the lila, before he gets into the rasa. So, and our Goswamis as well. Of course, we can pick and choose. We can say, oh, I like this book. I like that story. I like this. I like that. But that's not permissible. You have to accept in totality, what they have given to us. So have we internalized the instructions of Upadeshamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Brihad Bhagavatamrita and Hari Bhakti Vilas, etc.? Everything is there, nothing is lacking. So some people are saying, oh, Prabhupada didn't give us everything. Well, have you read Chaitanya Charitamrita? Have you studied Chaitanya Charitamrita? I doubt it. Otherwise, in one's right mind, one would not make such a statement. Because everything is there. Everything is there. Now, some things are there in a seed-like state. But if you have the seed and you have the proper attitude, then a very beautiful, wonderful plant with beautiful fruits and flowers will grow. But if we don't have the right attitude, then we can cause a lot of contrary experience, a lot of detrimental things. So Swarup Damodar Goswami, he was Lord Chaitanya's secretary, and one of his services was that anybody who wanted to talk with Lord Chaitanya and anybody wanted to recite some poetry, some drama, some verse, Swarup Damodar would first hear it, just to make sure that it was not rasabasa. It was not something that would disturb the Lord. So he was his private secretary. And it's quite interesting to see in that story of, you remember Kala Krishnadas? Who knows who Kala Krishnadas is? Who knows who Kala Krishnadas is? Hello, good morning, Golokadamis. How many of you know who Kala Krishnadas is?
Kala Krishnadas was the Prabhu who sold the banana in the market. In the Chaitanya Lila.
Good try. Thank you, Mataji, for your enthusiasm. Utsaha. It's important to be enthusiastic. And you're bold, so that is much appreciated. Now, if you help somebody, you have to. We'll volunteer you. Rupa, Vilas, Prabhu, or illustrious leader of the Münster tribe.
He knows. He was the one who prasadam rest from all the Vaishnavas and got their Abhishek water from lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right?
Anyone else? I know he knows. Kala Krishna Da. Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is our foundation. We have our home Pandit here, our Panda.
I think he made this special prasadam leelas that he offered something like mangoes, and afterwards, when the mango seed was throwing out, he went there and was talking about it.
108 Dandavat parikrams around Golokada in the gravel. No. Come on, work with me, people. Oh, sadhus and sadhvis. Yeah, you can always consult your little friend, right? That is always possible. I mean, people will ask you. And then what do you tell them? Okay, you can tell them it's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I give you a hint, it's there in Madhya Lila. It's part of Lord Chaitanya going on a little... He went on some tour, right? He went to travel somewhere. Where did he go? He did different tours. Where did Lord Chaitanya travel? Okay. He also went to Vrindavan twice. Yeah. So, Kala Krishna Das was Lord Chaitanya's personal servant, his personal assistant in his tour of South India. And he was privy, he was part of very amazing pastimes. He saw the Lord perform miracles in the Jharkhand forest and with so many different groups of people who became totally ecstatic and transformed and mesmerized by Lord Chaitanya's chanting and dancing, and also his elucidation on Krishna conscious philosophy. Yet at one point, something happened. What happened? Dun ta dun dun dun, da 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 dun, da 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 dun. The modes started moving in. The Trigunas, who are always fighting for supremacy. Now he's the Lord's personal assistant. He's with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's seeing all these miracles. He's experiencing all these ecstasies. These are not dreams. These are not figments of imagination. He was there. He was the eyewitness. He was cooking for the Lord. He was taking care of the Lord's every needs. Was with him 24/7. Yet what happened?
He was attracted by a woman.
Not just by a woman. They were Bataharis, which are like gypsies, nomads, and they are, also travelers, and they try to get more people into their group by sending some of their ladies out and then, capturing people and bringing them back into their camp. So he got confused. He got bewildered. He was the Lord's personal assistant, but he got bewildered. And he went with them. And Lord Chaitanya, he had to go personally to the camp of those nomads, gypsies, It's like, imagine Lord Chaitanya walking into a rainbow, rainbow gathering. Huh? Anybody doing anything, There is only one rule, no rules, right? If you want to know what hippieism is all about, there's only one rule, no rules. And I'll tell you a little story if you remind me about that. And so he went in there and he grabbed him by the hair. And he pulled him out. Because that shows mercy. That shows kindness. If somebody speaks strong words to you, he's concerned about you. If somebody flatters you and praises you, not quite. There's always a hook there. Okay, what do you want? Oh, Maharaj. Okay, you're going to give 5 classes today, right? And question and answers, and darshan, and this and that. 12-hour schedule. Always first a little praise, right? A little sugar, and then comes the hook. So, you learn everything in Bhagavatam, okay? You don't have to go and study psychology or economics or business or politics or all that stuff. It's all there. Nothing is lacking. It's all there. This is Veda. This is knowledge. Practical and philosophical. So then the Bhattataris, they wanted to fight, put up a fight. They came out with weapons, but just by Lord Chaitanya's potency, these weapons turned against the Bhattataris and started cutting them to pieces. And they realized this is not working. They ran away for their life. So when he got back to Jagannath Puri, he told his devotees, this fellow, I have no use for him. I don't need him. I don't want to see him. He rejected him. So the next day, Nityananda, then Swarup Damodar, Mukunda, and Jagadananda. All the four, they came to Lord Chaitanya. And they said, we need a person to go to Navadvip to tell Sachimata that you're back from your tour. We need someone who can do this seva. Can we send someone? And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, certainly. Now who did they send to Navadvip? Kala Krishnada, the one who had been rejected just a day before. They sent him. Why? Because he needed mercy. Because he needed service. Yes, the Lord has to be strict. He's the Lord. If he's not strict, then who will be strict? He has to set the example of what is right and what is wrong. But the devotees, they are more merciful than the Lord. Not because they try to supersede the Lord or go behind his back, but because they understand the heart of Krishna. They understand his mood of compassion, of kindness. So banning people and telling people get lost and you're not qualified, you can't be here, is very rarely the solution to the problem. But engaging people in service and giving them something that they can do, that is much better. Swarup Damodar, the one who is, you could say, the private secretary, personal secretary, he's like the very, very scrutinizingly analyzing, okay, can this come before the Lord or not? Jagadananda, very strict. Mukunda, Lord Nityananda, the manifestation of the spiritual master. They sent Kala Krishnadas to Navadvip with Mahaprasad and with the good news that Lord Chaitanya is back in Puri. And he had so many wonderful experiences, so many stories to tell to Madhur and to all the devotees there in Navadvip. Can you imagine how happy the devotees were in Navadvip to hear this? Unlimitedly happy. So when we're trying to grow a community, we have to actually be aware, what is our foundation? What are we basing it on? It's not about me. It's not about my guru. It's not about my project. It's about this. This is our praman. This is our foundation, what we're basing things on. Otherwise, we start walking on thin ice. Have you ever walked on ice? Dangerous business, right? Especially if it's some water body that's covered with ice. And it's, not always the same thickness of ice. It's dangerous business. Yeah, so I owe you a little story. I was in Reykjavik, Iceland, and I gave a program in the Indian Embassy in Reykjavik on Radhastami, exactly a year ago. And a nice gathering of people. And at the end of the program, one old hippie lady, she ran up to me and she wanted to give me a big hug. Big hug. And I had to apply the most powerful martial arts move that exists to save myself. So, what is the most powerful martial arts move? Like this. You try it out. Somebody comes and wants to fight with you. Do you ever have people who argue with you or want to challenge you or this or that? You just go like this. And then you smile. And then what happens? They usually walk away. They usually give up. So she went like this. And then she said, and then she ran out and she screamed, "No rules!" No rules, because that's the mantra of the hippies, She manifested her true swabhav, no rules, while she ran out. So, if ever you're in a confrontational situation where someone's giving you a hard time, just make this martial arts move and smile, and you will see. Most people will disengage. Most people will understand, okay, this person is not into fighting, this person is not into confrontation.
It's also a sign of surrender.
Huh?
It's a sign of surrender.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I surrender to Krishna, shouldn't have a problem also to be nice and kind to other people, right? That should not be problematic. But if I'm in a challenging, in a fighting spirit, then there will be plenty of opportunity to exercise that. But unfortunately, there will be no more friendship, there will be no more family, there will be no more community, and there will be no preaching, because people are sick and tired of fighting. They want something that is actually welcoming and inspiring and making them feel better. Questions, comments, or reflections? I was told that I should stop at 10 minutes to 9 to ask for questions. Yes.
Thank you very much for your lecture. I have a question about that book. We see in the Bhagavatam that all the prayers that always start with some kind of compliment, not compliment, but praise, and then they ask the question. So it's bona fide, but I find in my personal service in the temple, I'm always doing the lecture schedule. So sometimes when people see me, and I say hi, they say, "Oh, you want to know when I can give a lecture?" And I really don't like that, approaching people with that mood. I try to avoid it, but then I always have the fear that when I am nice to them, that I'm only nice to them because I want something from them. I want to avoid that. So how can we be nice to people and ask them if they could do service if you are in that position without being insincere in creating that feeling that, oh,
well, thank you for your honesty. I think it resonates with many of us. And I will tell you a little story which will include the answer. I just finished my book on the last 4 decades, Sankirtanamrita, the nectar of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. And I got some reviews from the sadhus. Yet the sadhus are very hard to get hold of. Have you noticed? When you try to get hold of sadhus and get something from them. So I had to ask my spiritual master 3 times because of various reasons. And I felt bad about it. So I asked one of my mentors, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, that I don't feel adequate, that I'm going to senior people who I revere and appreciate and worship, and I'm asking them to do things, and I feel bad about it. And then he just laughed and he said, "But you're doing that all day." That's your service. You're distributing books. So this is your service. So you can't avoid it. You have to do it. But you do it in a nice way. You have to do it in a nice way, which means that, okay, I'm nice not just to the people who give class, I'm also nice to others, and I should be nice to everybody, not just those who can be useful for me. Otherwise, it's like utilitarianism, using people, and people don't like to be used. Otherwise, it's just, oh, Prabhuji, huh? Oh, I can get something from this one. And those people, I'm not even going to look at them, because there's nothing there that I could want from them. So we have to have samadarshina. At the same time, it's not all one. There is distinction and variety. And we have to be considerate. We have to be patient and considerate. Like Rupa Goswami says, utsaha, enthusiasm, nishayat, dharyat, determination, but also patience. That's the winning formula. That's the winning combination. And then some, they will comply, and others, they won't. Others have excuses. And you have to just live with it, because that's part of the life of someone who has a service. We're sevaks, which means we're doing this for Krishna's pleasure, not for our own. What do you get out of whether this one gives class or that one? I mean, to you, you just want to fill the roster. You just fill the schedules. In some temples, they fill the schedule a month ahead or a year ahead, right? They already have all the names booked out. Sorry, no place to give lecture. We already made schedule last year. So now schedule full. Ho gaya. You have seen, right? In some places. What if somebody just shows up, Narad Muni shows up and he says, sorry, no vacancy, no time, little busy. We already made the schedule and the board has made decision that first we have to get clearance from, referrals. We have to do our background check. So there has to be rules, but there also has to be Vaishnava culture and flexibility. We have to be a little sensitive because people are people. And that means everyone is sensitive in their own way. I don't know if this answers your question. Yes, Matan?
The churning of the ocean, Lord Shiva is supposed to be Dhira. And in this Leela, I wonder why Lord Shiva became Adhira and was attracted by Mohini.
Well, that is yet to come. We don't want to spoil the whole story, Otherwise, the future speakers will not think kindly of me.
Okay.
And I don't want to get into that situation. But just to give you a little hint, when one is faced with Krishna's potency, nobody stays dhira. Dhaivi hiesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. This is not just some,
material.
Something minor, This is Daivi Maya. This is the Lord's. And here, this is the Lord's personal manifestation. It's not just a potency of a potency, something. This is Him, Himself, who appeared. Because to bewilder Mahadev takes a little more. Because He is Dhira. But Krishna showed him that even Dhira can become Adhira when faced with the Lord's personal potency. And that is very instructive. That is very, it's a good lesson to everyone, that we should never think that I'm above the law or I'm, I'm grandfathered in, or I've been doing this for a while and now I can do it whichever way I like, or because we back home in the Caribbean, we do things like that, or, just as an example, because sometimes, these ideas may come up in our mind. But this shows to us that, no, it's serious business. Other points? Thank you for showing up. and your kind, attentive listening.
Before you start, I would have another question. Just if you,
Yeah, quick.
According to what you said also, so long time Sankirtan, you wrote a book about this topic also, and relating to the topic that you spoke about, like giving this how to say, this example, like have to be kind on the one side, but on the other side sometimes we have to be strict. What is your experience according to Sankirtan when we distribute books, when we invite other people, when we want them to stay? How to find a good balance in behavior, in our behavior, where we should or how we should approach them to want them to stay on the one side, or want them to get connected to Krishna consciousness when we give them a book or something. On the other side, we sometimes see, obviously, we should be, or we could be much more stricter than we want to be, because they do so much mistakes, they
Sure.
are full of all these.
Yeah, one time Giraj Swami Prabhupada came and told him that this movement was spread by intelligence and good organization. So he asked, okay, what does intelligence come from? Where does that come from? He said it comes from good experience. And good experience comes from bad experience. So once you made a good series of mistakes, then we should learn. It's okay to make mistakes, but don't make the same more than 10 times. So initially, very open, very welcoming, very friendly. Then, when the time is right, you can say a couple of things. Like I went to a place and a lot of things were wrong. It was a big festival. And I told the organizer 3 things right off the bat, never seen the guy in my life. And just first, boom, I had to tell him 3 things that needed to be fixed right now. And then I thought, okay, it's enough for today. But then I realized, no, it's enough for this festival. Maybe it's enough for this life, but we have to recognize our audience and their capacity. Some people, they're very open. It's one thing to say, I live to be corrected. It's another thing to actually act like that. Very few people like to be challenged or criticized, or they like change. Nobody likes change. Only a wet baby likes change. So we have to be a little considerate and know that people are people, so we're also people. And so they want to be appreciated, they want to be encouraged, they want to be inspired, they want to be enthused. And then gradually, anyway, they will learn things. But nowadays, oftentimes, they don't learn through hearing. The hearing is broken. They learn more through seeing or through doing. So we have to acknowledge that and work with that and not be disappointed. Prabhupada, he posted the rules and regs after the first initiation. He put that paper on the temple door. Okay, by the way, 4 regs and 16 rounds, this is what you signed up. He did that on the first initiation. After that, it was known, okay, these are the rules. Because he thought, if I come with this in the beginning, they will say, okay, when is your boat? You want to take the bus or should we drive you there? Because hippies, no rules. The Prabhupada knew. He knew their mindset. So he freely gave himself. He was available, accessible, all loving and kind. And then gradually, he brought things in. Now, when that gradually is, that depends on you, that depends on your relationship with the person, depends on the situation. It requires maturity. Otherwise, you lose them in one moment. You've noticed?
Yeah, that's the point that I wanted to make. When somebody is there, but he feels so hardly chastised on the one thing, and then he leaves, or
Yeah.
another person. When we show, like, we are devotees, we have these
Or there's no boundaries and everybody just comes and thinks, yeah, this is just some other hippie commune, and anything goes. And then, it's also not impressive. There has to be balance. There has to be balance. And that's an art. It's easy to be black or white. It's easy to be left or right. But to walk the middle path, to be balanced, to be Krishna conscious, to follow the easy path strictly is a little difficult. But that's what our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta is. You can see our acharyas, very strict with themselves, very strict with the tattva, but quite inclusive and kind and compassionate in their application. And that means not just contextualizing, but realizing it through application, understanding Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Not just as a philosophical concept, unity in diversity, but this is what Prabhupada asked us. This is the winning formula. Because extremism may seem like more convenient or productive, but it's not sustainable. Why? Because it's not complete. It's imbalanced. If everything is one or everything is different, it's incomplete. It doesn't work. It's not Krishna conscious. So it's important to be mindful of that in preaching, in sharing the message, to not make those mistakes. Thank you very much. Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Gaur Premanandi.